they take you back because they're bored, play around with you, and then get lost again. That can be very, very emotionally damaging. Today, people just ghost you when they no longer want to be with you. You'll never have someone communicate that it's over. You'll never have someone tell you why it had to end. They will just disappear out of your life. So you might never find the closure that you need. Life with the Roots of My Lovelies, inspiring you to live an empowered life. Today, we're going to talk about something that most of us have experienced, and that is heartbreak. Please subscribe and let's empower each other. Whether it's the end of a long-term relationship or just a short, intense relationship, finding closure can be very, very difficult, especially if you still love someone. And I feel it is something that you shouldn't try to push away or pretend about, that you don't feel anything. I had one of my people DM me and talk about the same dilemma that she's going through. She had been dating someone for a while, and then this person just broke up with her, actually just ghosted her, disappeared, no closure, nothing, but she still loves him. And she says it's been 1 year and 6 months, I think. I'll share the message in the video. And she's having problems to move on. She thinks about him every single day. And that can be really, really very emotionally draining. And I thought we should talk about it. So before I even go on, have you ever experienced heartbreak? And if you did, how did you move on? How did you navigate closure? Did you even find closure? Your partner, did they give you closure? Or you just had to find a way of moving on and starting afresh? So the first step to moving on is acknowledging the pain, like honestly. And like I say, don't feel ashamed about it. Don't feel like, oh my God, how can I still have feelings for them when they don't care about me? It is natural, it is normal. And the only way you can move on is acknowledging first, yes, I still love this person, but this person maybe no longer loves me or no longer wants to pursue a relationship with me, and they've moved on. That is really the beginning of you letting go, acknowledging I love this person, but this person no longer wants to be a part of my life. So it's okay to feel the pain. It's okay to feel the sadness. Actually, give yourself permission to mourn this relationship. Give yourself permission to cry. Give yourself to be sad. Give yourself permission to even be angry at this person, because that is one of the first steps for you to moving on, acknowledging your emotions and your loss. And we also have to keep in mind that it may never be easy to move on all by yourself. So feel free to talk to a therapist, feel free to talk to a friend, feel free to talk to someone you trust, and even do some journaling. I'm a big fan of journaling, of writing down your thoughts. And I'm not talking about write your thoughts down and then send him these thoughts. No, journaling helps you to get it all out, to get out all the emotions. It is similar to crying, but in even a deeper and safer way, because you know why exactly you are writing that. So it helps you relieve the emotions and even start to see this person in a different picture. So do that if you have to, but definitely you have to take the step of moving forward. So once you've acknowledged the pain and you've acknowledged the sadness and you've mourned the loss, it is now time to focus on yourself. A breakup can leave you emotionally drained, can even leave you health-wise completely drained. But after acknowledging what you're going through, after acknowledging all this pain, it is time to focus on yourself, to focus on your healing. So this is the time you can actually focus on things that maybe you got to neglect while you're in a relationship. Focus on things that make you happy. Focus on hobbies that you've always wanted, like to engage in, but you haven't done. Join a sports club, hang out with friends, go more socializing, but just don't stay at home and mourn and mourn and mourn. So focus on yourself, go for a wellness retreat, travel more, do something that really keeps you busy and gets your thoughts off of this person, but also making you gain in form of self. And definitely for you to move on, you need to stop idealizing the past. This is something I told my client that contacted me, is most of the time when we're dating people, we tend to idolize them, we put them on a pedestal where they actually don't belong. So even when the relationship ends, you're only looking at the nice part that you probably even created in your head. But when you take the time to really reflect and look at your relationship in depth, and that's where journaling is important, you get to realize that actually it was never all rosy. Like, you want to keep it in your mind, like you want to save it there. And the moment you realize that this person is not perfect, this person is not the best lover you ever had, this person is not the best boyfriend, best girlfriend you could ever have, then it helps you to move on because you've stopped idealizing the relationship. But the moment you don't look at it in depth, you'll always probably see what you would want to have, and then you go on to mourn probably the future that you would have had, which makes it very difficult to move on. So definitely you want to get them off that pedestal and put them down and look them in the eye, figuratively, and be able to come to a conclusion of saying, well, this was a red flag, this is something that didn't make me happy in this relationship, and then it will help you to weigh the balance and let go of the past. Because once a relationship ends and someone gets out of your life, it is the past, unfortunately. One of the hardest and probably the most important bit of moving on is for you to set boundaries, whether it means cutting off this person completely, where it means avoiding maybe the same circle of friends that you've been hanging out with, whether it means blocking this person, whether it means getting a restraining order, depending on how the relationship ended. It is very, very important to set boundaries, not only for the ex, but also for yourself. Try to avoid, SMSing them every time you're drunk or every time you're sad and lonely and miss them. If you have to delete their number, all their contacts, do that, but you really need to set firm boundaries for you to move on, depending on the kind of relationship you had, So it is really, really important. For me, I believe actually that's one of the most important steps to take when a relationship ends, for yourself and for the ex-partner. And of course, you have to keep in mind setting healthy boundaries. With the era of social media, you have to ask yourself, if I continue to see my ex-partner's life unfold before my eyes, am I going to be able to heal? Am I going to be able to move on? Or that is something that is going to trigger me? And if you realize that that's something that is going to trigger you, then unfollow them on social media if you're following them. Don't stalk them, because you'll only be harming yourself and making it difficult to move on. So try to make sure as much as possible you set these boundaries so that they fade away. You have to give yourself a chance for them to fade away. So especially with this social media era, you also have to set boundaries on social media. And of course, I would say, if you want to heal, if you want to move on, I think I talked about that on my Instagram. Follow me there if you don't follow me on Instagram by the name Rosehoff. The most important bit here is focusing on moving on, focusing on healing, and not necessarily closure, because you might never get the closure you need. Like I say, today people just ghost you when they no longer want to be with you. You'll never have someone communicate that it's over. You'll never have someone tell you why it had to end. They'll just disappear out of your life. So you might never find the closure that you need, but it's up to you. It is within your power to move on, to take your life back, to take your power back and be like, I'm going to start afresh. I'm going to be in spaces where I'm needed. I'm going to be with someone that treasures me and desires me and respects me and is happy to have me in their life. So not necessarily closure, but rather moving on and healing. And one day you wake up and the sun is shining again and you're ready for life. Heartbreak is very painful, but it could also be an opportunity to rediscover yourself. Like I like to say, sometimes you get lost in the relationship. We lose who we are. You're trying to make compromises. You're trying to make this person happy. You're trying to please them, and you end up losing yourself. So a breakup could be an opportunity for you. I mean, you've survived this before and you're going to survive it again. I know it sounds cliche, but time heals everything. It might take long, it might take short time, depending on how deep the relationship was, but time heals everything. And one day you're going to be able to look back and probably even be thankful the relationship ended, because it was never good anyway. Reinvest in yourself. Try to discover who you were before the relationship. Go for further education, do a qualification. Like I say, do a new sports art. Discover who you are outside of the relationship, because most people identify themselves around their relationships. But ask yourself, who am I without being someone's girlfriend? Who am I without being someone's boyfriend? And that could be a way of healing, moving on, but also realigning your life for the better. I hope this helps you to understand that if you're going through heartbreak right now, if you're on your journey right now of trying to heal and struggling with it, you are not alone. This is something most of us have experienced, and if not yet experienced, will unfortunately at some point in life experience. So it's nothing to be ashamed about, it's nothing to beat yourself about. Just give yourself the time you need, but follow the steps that I've talked about, because you don't want to do a back and forth depending on the relationship that you had with that person, because there's also the possibility of they take you back because they're bored, play around with you, and then get lost again. That can be very, very emotionally damaging. So don't become a ping pong in a relationship that they're just getting back to you whenever they're bored, whenever they need someone to play around with, and then will get lost again. That can really happen, and it's something you have to be very careful about, and that's why you must keep boundaries. It's very hard, trust me. I know what I'm talking about, but you just have to keep trying. My lovelies, if you found this video helpful or you just like it, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe if you're new here for more content like this about self-growth, about mental health, about navigating life, because we are a social empowerment channel. And of course, I would love it. Feel free to share your heartbreak stories in the comment section, how you navigated that, how you managed to move on to the next chapter of your life and help someone out there, because your story could be exactly what someone needs to move on from their pain. My lovelies, I'm here to inspire, uplift, and empower you. Until next time, thank you. Thank you. Vielen Dank.